Hello there, it's your friend Phil, project management trainer and coach. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of our favorite tools, Microsoft Project. Lean and mean in 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, I will be showing you how to use Microsoft Project in a lean and mean fashion. In other words, put together your schedule, have some milestones, have some activities, have your baseline, make sure you're able to track the schedule. Hey, but isn't that what scheduling is all about in the first place? But a lot of people get carried away with the bells and whistles of MS Project, and as a result, they're upset, they're frustrated, they're mad at the software, they almost bash their computer in, and that doesn't have to be the case. You can use it in a lean and mean way to get schedules like the one I'm about to show you, like this. So this schedule, we've put in a little bit of time and attention and effort in putting this together. There's a lot of fancy stuff in here, but I'm going to show you how to do it, how to put it together in a more lean fashion. It's not going to be cost loaded like this or resource loaded to the extent this one is. Now, a lot of PMs, especially folks who have been trained by me, have often told me, Phil, we don't understand what MS Project is. We haven't used it. We use Excel to get our stuff done. I want to show you what exactly this tool is meant to do for you and how to scale it either up or down. In fact, we're going to look at a bite-sized way of using MS Project. So let's take a look at this project scenario. It's a project to design, produce, and transform various easy day hikes into multi-day trek travel and versatile backpacks. So we're going to take a look at how this project is set up. It's TCP Backpacks, a top-selling school backpack firm, wanted to take what they do up a notch. We're going to take a look at this new backpack they're developing, and we have a whole slew of project documents that my team members have been working on here. We've got charters and stakeholder registers and all that good stuff, as you can see. But we want to hone in on the scheduling aspects, because it's one thing to have a great idea. It's another thing to execute the idea. How do you get good execution? It's by great planning. So we're going to look at this activity list that we came out with for this backpack that we're trying to design. We're trying to produce a new backpack, a new way of life. And we've got these tasks. That's the bottom line. We've got all these tasks that need to be scheduled. Now, in the real world, let's be honest, people just typically throw a milestone on that particular activity, or if it's a set of activities. So we have something called a milestone list similar to this. And as you can see, we've just got these high-level milestones, 3 big milestones that have been defined in the project. A milestone has 0 duration. It just signifies that you have accomplished something. So after each set of activities, for example, you could have a milestone. But I'm going to show you how to use this software application, which is known as Microsoft Project. How do we jump into it and put together a scrappy schedule so that we can start getting stuff done? So I'm going to show you a few takes to this. We're going to click on New and open up a blank project. By no means is this meant to be a full-blown Microsoft Project training. As you know, this is very, very rapid. Now, if you've used Excel, this probably looks familiar because it's rows and columns. That's really what this format is. The Microsoft Project application has a task name field, and this is Microsoft Project 2013. If you're on 2010 or 2002, it will look a little bit different from this. So this is most up-to-date one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my activity list, and I'm going to copy all these activities, and I'm going to stick them in to my task name field, as simple as that. So there we go. And I pasted in those ones. Now, before I did that, I should have done something else. This is a new project, and it's not set up to default to automated scheduling. So I'm going to click here down below. I'm going to right click, or left click rather, and select auto scheduled. Now I'm going to paste. Okay, now these are my tasks. Think about this as a glorified Excel sheet for now. It's not that. I know lots of people are going to get mad, but in order to go beyond the, oh, I'm in a scheduling tool and I need to be super careful. No, you don't. Look at it like Excel. If you damage anything, you can always undo. So if you make a mistake, you can always use the undo button or Control Z. Okay, so we've put in a few of these. Let's go back and put in more activities. So let's copy those, go back, put them in. Now, this is all well and good. You can see that Microsoft Project has automatically put in start and finish dates. That means when you get into this tool, do not put in a start and a finish date for these activities, except it is a hard stop. In fact, you might want to be careful about fiddling with start and finish dates at all, because they will impose constraints on your schedule. So for now, think about it like this. Anything you do in this tool needs to be done outside your start and finish dates until you have a better understanding of what it is. Okay? So right now we've put in a bunch of tasks, and you can see on the right-hand side, we have something called a Gantt chart view, which shows you what exactly you're doing in a graphical format. For now, the duration is by default 1 day for all of these. Let's go back to our activity list and see if there's any duration. So there's no duration here. We need to come up with durations for these different things. So I'm just going to throw in some dates off the top of my head. And I'm just going to type in some days. These are all off the top of my head, so if they look unrealistic, oops, I'm in the wrong place. You see, I don't want to do that. I want to stay here. So type in all those dates as realistic as they should be. Of course, to get these dates, you might need to liaise with your team and designers and engineers and all those folks. Make sure you liaise with them. Don't just put these in yourself, project manager. You want to make sure that these are realistic. So that's the next thing you do. So we put in the task names, then we put in the durations, and you can see Microsoft Project has started putting in start and finish dates based on today, which takes us to another question. When does this project start? Is it really the 12th of January, or is it something else? This project is meant to be scheduled for the future. Click on project information. Clicking on project information up here and selecting a different date. Let's say it's starting on March 1st. You click OK. Look at what happened to your schedule. All of these dates moved forward to March 1st. But we need to link these. Now, lots of you have done the Project Management Professional, the CAPM exam. You need to link these tasks. Most of them are going to be linked in a finish to start relationship. So let's make this an easy schedule. We're going to scroll over all of these. So from here all the way down. And there are many ways you can link tasks, but I'm going to show you a very easy way of doing it all at once. So let's click on this. It's the link the selected tasks button. Let's click on that. And you can see on the right hand side what happened. Did you see that? Let me undo, Control Z, and redo. Look at what happens. When I redo, they are linked. So we've got a column that has predecessors and successors. And well, that's really what it is, even though it just shows predecessors. So You've been through chapter 6 in the PMBOK guide, right? So you know that 1 is a predecessor of 2. But you know that 2 is a successor of 1. So just keep that in mind. There are many different ways you can link tasks. I'm going to show you a few ways here. I'm going to use for task 1 to 2, you can see it's a finish. I can make it a bit bigger. You can see it's a finish to start relationship. Finish task 1 and start task 2. But I'm going to make task 2 and 3 have a start to start relationship. So here, where I have 2, I'm going to make this 2 start to start relationship. Look at what happens on the right over here when I do that. So that becomes a start to start relationship. And that is pretty much how it works. It's pretty much how it works. Let's do one more relationship here. Let's do a finish to finish relationship for task 4. So or task 5 rather. Let's do a finish to finish relationship here. F for finish to finish. Let's look at what happens. You can see it is such that these two will be finishing at the same time. And whatever Microsoft Project needs to do to make that happen, it does it for you. So we have a finish to start, a start to start, and a finish to finish. And of course, hardly anyone uses a start to finish, so we're not going to use that. But you kind of get an idea of how it all works. Okay. So in this example, you can see, if you look at the Gantt chart view, what exactly is happening on the project. See? And that pretty much is how you would put a schedule together. However, there is one last thing we need to do. What we need to do is we need to set a baseline for this project. And a baseline is going to help us have a snapshot of time. We want a snapshot in time what exactly this project is about. We want to make sure that if we look at this project 5 months later, when these fields change, because they will on most projects, we want to make sure that we have a baseline that we can measure the project against. Something else we want to do before we do that is we want to go to Format and click on Project Summary Task. I want you to take a look at what's going to happen up here really quick. So the moment I clicked that, you saw a new line appear, and that is showing you the entire project timeline. So it's showing you the project starts on 3/1 and it ends on 4/14 based on the information that I have in the schedule. Okay? So if we name this, in fact, we should have named this first, but let's name it. Let's save it. Let's save it as backpack. And it's going into my templates folder. I know. And now you can see the name has been updated to backpack. And you can see it's 294 days. So it starts on 3/1, ends on 4/14 the following year. And if I zoom out, you can see pretty much that's my Gantt chart. Now, there's a few more things that should happen. The allocation of resources, but I told you that this is scrappy. In fact, people get into a lot of trouble when they begin to put resources in. There's a lot of tiny little parameters that you need to be careful of. But I'm not here to show you all that. Those of you who are proficient in this video probably isn't for you. You probably shouldn't be watching it because you might feel that it's too elementary. And it is meant to be elementary for students and people, the naysayers who don't want to use this application. They say it's a waste of time, it controls your life. No, it doesn't. If you do it the right way, it won't control your life. Okay, so let's go back to a project. Let's set our baseline. Should we say our baseline is set, or do we want to do one more thing? We could go ahead and use the resources field and assign names to these, but that's not the goal. I'm trying to show it to you in a scrappy way, okay? Let's set the baseline. Set baseline. Let's use the first one there, which is just baseline. And we want the entire project. Let's click OK. Now, at first, it seems like nothing has happened, okay? But I'm going to show you where to get the baseline fields. If you right-click here and insert column, you want to look for baseline start and insert another column and look for baseline finish. And this is going to show you your schedule no matter what. Now, if I begin to put tasks in, begin to show tasks as complete, I might run into a little bit of trouble. In reality, you won't have that many pop-ups and alerts and flags if you're really following the timeline. I mean, this is January, but if I try to update something as complete, it's going to say, well, if you want this to be complete, it means I need to be starting this project earlier. And that's okay. That's all right, because there are no constraints. That's the reason why you want auto schedule. Okay. So I've shown you how to put this schedule together. I've shown you how to put in start and finish dates, how to put in your baseline start and your baseline finish. I'm going to show you two more fields here. We right click and insert column. Let's put in an actual start. Actual start and an actual finish. So actual start, you can see the project hasn't started, and insert an actual finish. There we go. So you've got an actual start and an actual finish. Now in the real world, if your project actually was to start a lot earlier, yeah, than you thought, let's say it started on the 12th of January. If we make our actual start today, it says you move task 4 of backpack to start on this. This is before the project start date. And the options are move the task to start before the project start date, or do not move the task. What would you do? In reality, if your project is starting with that first task, it means that your project has started. So in that case, I want to show you another advantage of MS Project. Another advantage is you could go to project and project information, and you could move this entire project to any date you want. I could move this project to February. Let's try February 1st, for example. Take a look at what happens to these dates as I click OK. Take a look. You see all those dates moved? This is one of the advantages of using an auto-scheduled software application that can do the thinking for you. Could you imagine what it would take to change all of these days? Right? And these are working days, by the way. Imagine what it would take to calculate all the working days and what it would do. It'll take long. And that's why using MS Project is great. It does your thinking for you. And a lot of times, you don't want it to do the wrong thinking, though. And that's why you need to give it the right amount of information. If you give MS Project too much information, it will think too much for you and in wrong ways. You don't want that to happen. All right, so we're going to select the date, January 12th. Let's see what happens. We say OK. It moved the entire project to start on the 12th. What about making a project start in the past? Same thing. If you wanted to say, well, my project has been alive since November 1st, I just hadn't finished my schedule, go ahead and say OK. Microsoft Project doesn't mind. It won't stop you. Now, when we go in to update this project, let's say our actual start for this was instead of 11/2, I want you to take a look at what's going to happen. You can see here now Microsoft Project is saying, well, conduct market research should have started 11.2. If we say, well, it started 11.4, take a look at what is going to happen to the finish date of the project. So look at where we are. We're in actual start. We're saying our project actually started, the first task started 11, did I say 11.4? Take a look at what happens to the finish date of the project. It has changed. Let me undo. See what happened? It got pushed out from 12/15/16 to 12/19/16. So you can see selecting the start date shows my task has started. If you have tasks that are meant to have started and they haven't, this is where you, the PM, needs to control schedule. This is where you need to ask the questions. Hey, resource X or Y or resource Z, why have you not done what you should have done? Why haven't you done what you should have done by this date? All right. So actual finish of this task, remember we're updating, now we're in update mode. It should have been 11/19. Let's say we actually got done a little bit early. I want you to take a look at what is going to happen to this date. So let's say something good happens, and instead of finishing on 11/19, we end up finishing on 11/17. Do you see that the date of the project finish, has gone back to what it was initially? And if you take a look here, you can see the progress bar has been updated. This is why MS Project is a great tool to use. There are many ways you can update your project. Another way you can update this is using the percent complete column. I'm going to right click and insert percent complete. Now you can see 100% of this task is complete. You've got that check mark. Let's say for this next one, task 2, let's say we are just 75% complete. 75. Can you see the progress bar? We call that a progress bar. Make it a bit bigger for you here. Can you see that blue bar passing through the task is not completely at the end? That's because it's 75% complete. See? And you can update your project like this. You see? And nothing really changes until you hit the 100% complete. So we can put in the actual finish date for this task instead of 12/2. Let's make it late. Let's say it was 12/15. So it should have been 12/2, but now it's 12/15. Let's see what happens to the schedule. Actually, nothing seems to have happened because of the relationship type. So let me undo it. Okay. And let's go again and put 12/15/15. And you can see nothing happened to the finish date for the entire project. So this is showing you reality. And one more thing, remember our baseline. If we scroll to the right, this is the beauty of a baseline. It shows me that this project should have started on 3/1/16, but instead it started on 11/4/15, earlier than it needed to. So when management is taking a look at this project and getting mad at your finish dates, you can remind them, hey, remember the original baseline with this, we just started early. And this could be used in a variety of scenarios. It really depends on what is happening in your project. Okay. So with that, I hope you have an idea of how to use this tool in a simplified manner. You don't need to go as far as many firms and practices need to by putting in resource names by cost loading it, by using resource leveling, you will get lost. Just keep it simple. Go ahead and you can save as a PDF, for example. You can save as a PDF. And of course, you would need to make it look nice and pretty as a report. You could filter, you could do all sorts of things. And there's a lot of free training online, by the way. Lots of free training online. So if you wanted to go to the next level in this stuff, you can get trained online. If you want to attend a live class and really go into the details, really understand what the length and breadth of this is, and you want your team to be trained, we have a phenomenal expert, Colin, who can train you, equip you, teach you. I mean, if you want to know project till the cows come home, he will teach you how to use it till the cows come home. Okay, so what I'm showing you now is really just the top of the waves to get you a little bit more interested and to get you to see reality in using MS Project. It does not have to be as complicated as people make it to be. I have used MS Project on huge projects, multi-million projects, small projects. I have resource loaded in it, cost loaded every single line in the schedule. I can tell you a lot of people, they have a misconception about the tool. Keep it simple, keep it manageable, and no one will get hurt. I'm going to show you one more column and I'll call it a day. This is a resource names column. It is a very, very simple column to use in that you don't necessarily have to attribute schedule progress or schedule length to resources. You could just keep the resource names as a way of tracking who does what. So for example, if I type in Mary and Frank, Mary, Frank, you can see Mary and Frank have been assigned to this. It does not mean that it has a bearing on what happens on the project. I only want it for tracking. Okay, I want Phil to know he's assigned to this. And maybe June and John. Well, guess what? I just type their names in. And as you can see, if I bring this forward, when I type their names in, their names appear. So you could still use the resource assignment fields, but not to drive your schedule. Not to drive your schedule. Okay, so you can see Microsoft Project has immediately set up these people on the project by typing their names in. Simple, straightforward, and easy. Why get all complicated with this thing? You can make it simple. All right, well, with that, I hope this has given you a good idea on the processes of time management. The processes are, first of all, have a meeting or decide how to develop the schedule and how to manage the schedule. In this case, let's say we had already gone to our team. We had an activity list, which I showed you. That was our activity list, and it defines all of these activities in a lot of detail. Not that this needs to be the case in an activity list, but it would be good practice to really understand what the activity entails and to have the people who are carrying out the work actually describe and define the duration. So anyway, we've got define activities, putting all this in. We have sequence activities, making these relationships work between the activities, and that sequence activities doing the start to start and the finish to finish. Then we have estimate activity resources. I skipped that step at first, but I went back in and I put in some resource names. So estimating the resources you need for the project. Then I put in the durations, estimate activity durations, and voila, we have a schedule. You've developed the schedule, and then the next important thing, which I showed you, is to control the schedule, putting in those percent completes, making sure you're looking at the baseline, seen where you should have been and where you are, and all that great stuff. And there's 1,000,001 permutations of how this could happen, how it could work, and how it could be of value to your firm. Remember, if you want to learn more about Microsoft Project 2010, 2013, Project Server, visit www.praizion.com. That's right. That's Praizion, Praizion.com. Send us an email, inquire more, and let us help your team understand how to scale this up or down.